Unanisikia? Maraland. Nimesema hivi.
Remember when, I think it was during the eulogy of Raila. I mean, people don't realize the amount of anger, the amount of hate, the amount of pain people go through on disagreements about, for example, when we had the issues of 2007 and 8, people were in Kina Kalonzo was, I mean, not Kalonzo. Kalonzo was already with President Kibaki. We were sitting in buildings where we are discussing what to do next, and you hear bullets being shot outside, and people are being killed, and people are saying, let us get arms and make sure we go and kill this community because of the problem of our history and our lives. And I saw Raila say, if any of you are men enough, go and do it. I ain't gonna kill any more Kenyans. If you don't understand that this thing is not as simple as it looks, then you are just playing normal the fanta and those stupid things kids do.
But no, higher. Quick one.
Yeah.
Someone has asked what party you're going to use to vie for the Kisii gubernatorial seat, which brings us now to your political
The
ambitions.
party I'm going to use, I shouldn't say this because I've got so much respect and candor with my party ODM, but politics in Kenya is shifting. If I find that I will win my seat with the Jubilee Party, that's what I'll do. If Jubilee makes a coalition agreement with WIPE and whoever, my honest observation is that because I've taken my space and time to support Fred Matiang'i, and it's a risk in personal determination and what you do with, my honest feeling is that if Fred Matiang'i asked me to join Jubilee, I would seriously consider that and join him. If he doesn't, then I'm comfortable remaining in my ODM. If ODM, for example, decides to form a coalition with Jubilee and the other parties of the opposition, I'm comfortable. Either way, I am always comfortable.
So then, hey, you don't choose parties based on ideology?
I've never won an election with more than one party.
What
I mean, with less than one. The first time I was in a party called PDP. Second time I went to ODM. Third time I was in Fort Kenya. Fourth time ODM asked me to come back. Fifth time I was in which one? I've always been in this because.
So it's a problem of our politics because clearly you're using whichever vehicle will get
the
you.
reason is the reason I was doing that is because I would never be an MP or a senator today. Every single move I made, every time I was moving away, is because I saw I was going to be rigged out. So I moved ahead of the opposition. Then when I went to the other party, I did my term. When I got there, I again moved out because there are always strategies when you are running for election. From nomination to getting the ticket is not a joke.
Okay. Shifting sands.
Yeah.
You said something earlier. Mariam said politics in Kenya is like a chessboard. And there's been the same 20 players, the same 20 players for almost several decades.
Yeah, since families, since independence. If you include families, it's since independence more or less. It's a shift here, shift there, but it's more or less the same people.
Yeah. So then you wanted to find out a little bit about shifting alliances, especially based on what's happened now that Fred Matiang'i has declared officially that he's going to run for president. I think we just wanted to just get your thoughts. I think that was different from when we had you last time. And whether, we've talked about this before, the broad-based, the shifting of chessboards and chess games is really going to give rise to anything different come 2027.
Thank you.
But what has been the greatest shift on the chessboard that has most thrown you off?
Actually,
I will.
In the last maybe few months.
Let me say the last 1 month.
Last 1 month.
I think today that has been your most incredible question. The passing of Raila.
Right.
The passing of Raila has made, this is my thinking, all of us to go back to the drawing board. The reason for that is that before Raila passed on, you had everybody who was in the broad-based government, whether it's John Badi, whether it's my CS for energy, whether it was my friend Kaluma. For them, they had arrived, and basically they were actually taking no prisoners. They had reached a stage where for them it is their turn to eat. Then Mzee passes on. Now you see, when Mzee passed on, everybody then was into this thing of crying the loudest tears and saying how he was the greatest guy in town. He was in fact this enigma, this great I mean, the same people who I saw 1 year ago. You know, Kenyans politics shifts so quickly that 2023, after the elections, are now the government of UDA had started now doing their stuff. I remember the amount of anger and hate, and how we were these Sufuria people who were just no good, who basically were unhappy with governance because why? We were not on the table. No. We said that's not the point. You're just taking the country in the wrong direction. Then as things have moved on, of course, you see the opposition. Again, what has surprised me, Kalonzo Musyoka has stood the ground, which has impressed me quite a bit, because everybody expected him to have shifted to government a long time ago.
Right.
He hasn't. Of course, at some point, everybody was looking at, after Kalonzo, who do you have? Gachagua has continued with what he's doing, and that is basically keep on telling government what is wrong with it. Some people, many of us, may not even like his style, but does really his style matter? I think he has got a chunk of people who appreciate and love what he's doing. And for me, as a politician who's been practicing for nearly 20 years, I think the candidature of Fred Matiang'i has also come in interestingly. Somebody who comes from a small community, somebody who may not have the billions that are stolen for him to run and win an election, deciding that actually I'm going to call the bluff.
Right.
I'm going to try and run for president. If I make it, fine. If I don't, fine. Interestingly, I think Matiang'i will be the first candidate who's taking a political party that had been, in power for 10 years, and everybody thought it was going to be moribund, and all of a sudden Jubilee is now coming up. And interestingly enough, and finally, is Uhuru Kenyatta basically saying, this young guy is my candidate and I want him to run for president. I think he has the capacity and the ability. If he became president, he would be a good one. That's interesting politically.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Last time you were here, you said it's either the ballot is either Kalonzo Matiang'i
Yes.
or Matiang'i Kalonzo.
Yes.
So where's Kalonzo in the mathematics right now?
let me tell both of you in this studio.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't seen a person in the opposition. And sometimes let's just be honest and realistic about what is it that we did, what is it that I would require somebody who I was giving a job to be an anchor or to be somebody who's running this show? The guy has been there. Kalonzo has been around for 40 years. Being around for 40 years doesn't mean you're stupid. In politics, survivability and consistency ends up actually being an aspect. Number two, don't forget that for 20 years, Kalonzo and Raila and company, and that's because there was a mistake we made when the constitution was being drafted. We say that anybody who runs for office, once you lose, you go nowhere. So he's been at home for 20 years. As a result, he's been trying to figure out how to become president. Number two, truthfully, Kalonzo has been running mate for Raila twice, and he has been Kibaki's vice president. Now, the reality is that Kibaki was, I think, one of the most successful presidents in our country. So the man who was with him during that time is now saying, I think I've reached a stage I need to be president. For me, that is such a strong CV. But that doesn't mean that, for example, somebody like me who supports Matiang'i doesn't see that reality. But we are also saying, what is the possibility that you can have somebody like Matiang'i who's not really entrenched in this past other than working for Uhuru? Doesn't come from a dynastic outfit like me. People use it and say, oh, you are some of the children, your fathers were there. The truth is, my father was a boy from a very, very poor family, which managed through God's grace to go to school, and he was successful. And I don't think that being a dynastic person gives you legitimacy, or even, and it gives you a little bit edge, because there could be resources and a good name. But I think Kenyans should not even imagine that we are going to look for this clean individual who has never been corrupt, who has no sins in his closet, and that's what we want. You see, for us, and for us who are supporting Fred, and really Kalonzo, and some people wonder when I tell them that I really like the role that Gachagua plays, and I respect him quite a bit because he's again also shifted that sand in Kenyan politics for the last 2 years. But the truth is, and I, sometimes when I hear these comments, when somebody asks these questions about parliament, boss, there is no parliament. That is a home where cartels sit, negotiate kleptomaniac arrangements about state resources where they are being shared, whether it is for this thing they call empowerment. You only receive that money so that you can then show how loyal you are, so that you can go to your constituents and dish out the 2 million shillings to about 4,000 people and do that constantly, so that you create the optics and the perception that the government is doing anything. And yet reality is the very basics which in 1963 that we were talking about, healthcare, education, consumption of drinking of clean water, fairness, equity, justice, meritocracy, those things that make a government, a country become a nation state. What we are doing is we are splitting up this thing we call our country into small little bits and pieces. The ones who make loudest noise about how you people are the ones who are tribal. They are the ones who are appointing 560 people from their community and they are sharing their largesse. We are talking about why are we not able to raise very little money to deal with mother-child healthcare issues. We are busy buying new Land Cruisers for government officers, which are consuming 4.0 diesel, oil, fuel, diesel. I mean,
we're not prioritizing what's...
Yes, we are just a nation that does not understand that we need to be a state, that we need to be an entity that has got functionality, that accommodates everybody's interest in terms of fairness and equity.
A little later, I know we'll have a question to you about your own ambitions.
Yes.
Because I'm really curious to find out how you straddle having to be part of a group of people who, in essence, you disagree with the formation, you disagree with their ideologies.
With whatever they do.
With whatever they do. But
Another brilliant question.
Yes, we'll come to that a little bit later.
Yes.
But we want to come back to the broad-based, really trying to hold back from saying bread-based.
It's bread-based. Used to be bread-based.
Yes. Yeah, I know you wanted to...
Broad-based politics, many questions. One, you've been critical of broad-based menos, but you've also said that if President William Ruto performs, you're within the next, before 2027, you're willing to align with him.
No, I said I'm willing to listen to what he says. I may end up believing in him. But I may not join him. My job is not to join government. My job is to raise the critical questions about governance in our country. And not necessarily, you see, there is this narrative, and you really come home with this. I am not criticizing government and telling government to behave for me to join government. No, I already have a job. And I love my damn job. Can you imagine a job where you are paid to just tell somebody how they are poo-pooing on themselves? It's a beautiful job. It is up to the mother and the parents to decide, and that child, whether they're going to remove the poo-poo or they're keeping it on themselves. I mean, my job doesn't need me to be given anything else.
It's not a metaphor you could have come up with.
I don't have anything. I tell people, I don't want to join William Ruto's government. I would want to join, even if I found my mom was the president, I would be telling her, Mama, you are like Suluhu. You are running around like Suluhu. See what you are doing. Why are you killing people? That's what I would do.
Okay.
I mean, some of us, there are people who can be doctors, and some of them who can be Juakali guys. We all can't be doctors. You see, all of us can't be president. So people think that we are criticizing Ruto because we want money. I told somebody, if I haven't made money for being in politics for 30 years, then I ain't gonna make it. I should have made it. So my deeply held view is that I didn't get this job to make money. Otherwise, I would have made the money my first 5 years, started a factory, and I've been making toys and toothpicks in Nairobi, and I'll be a multimillionaire. I don't have that capacity. My capacity to take the little education I have and analyze the issues the way we have them in my country. And the position I've taken is very simple. Some of us are going to be brave enough to say it the way it is. And it's not we are doing it because we are disparaging the president. No, he was given the mandate by the people.
Right.
But the fact that you've been given a mandate doesn't mean that you treat us shoddily. You see, I don't want William to tell me that, oh, you know, I've done these wonderful things. That, no, I have eyes to see and have ears to hear.
Okay. We need to get back to that opposition politics in just a minute. But you've recently spoken about the games being played with presidential term limits and what's being pushed. What do you see there that the rest of us may not be seeing when people start suggesting 7 years?
I'm going to take what they call a long curve, throw a long curveball if you understand baseball. What is making African leaders become intransigent and become what they're becoming now is because, sadly, the way the American president is behaving. You see, previously, the Americans were the checkmates. The U.S. is the one that would tell us, behave yourselves. Make sure you take care of human rights. All right.
Yeah.
The issue of race, which is the tribalism we have in Kenya. All these things were coming up. Now, what has happened is you have our presidents within our region deciding that they're the ones who are going to tell us what to do because they know everything. And the reality we have got is that Kenyans are saying, and I'll talk about Kenya today, is that Kenyans are saying, we know what is good for us. We want that is good for us to take place. But if you look at the governance structure that we have, where we have checks and balances, we have the executive, you have the legislature, and you have the judiciary. For the last 30 years, even after we thought we had actually succeeded, even with the new constitution, checks and balances are weak. And Kenyans forget very quickly. Do you remember when members of parliament, after President William Ruto told them how they are all thieves and crooks, and they go to State House to collect money, which is never shared amongst themselves?
The devolution
why was he telling them that? It's because our country has become basically a den where people share state largesse, where everybody who wants to have an engagement. I even see my senator friends. You see somebody arguing and saying how the government is a beautiful outfit, and in fact it's you people who are not seeing what the government has done. And this is a lawyer who's been fighting over human rights for years. So you ask, what happened to you? Then you are told, no, now one of his hospitals is the one which is being paid by SHA. Oh, you know what? Last financial year, the guy was given 800 million to do Maram roads in his constituency. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes. And then you are told, no. In fact, it wasn't a Maram road. They added another 1.3 billion. It's now supposed to be tarmacked. And half the money has already been paid. And the control of budget has said, I wouldn't pay that, but they are paid. And the Auditor General said, they stole 56 billion last year. They have stolen 196 billion. There's money that has come from donors. No one at the World Bank. All these things, when you pull them together, it's not that the president is not doing anything. It's that for everything he's doing, his friends are stealing money from the coffers.
Walk me from there to term limits.
Yes. So as a result, thank you. As a result, you see when you begin to see this largesse, you see this exclusivity, then the oligarchs form. Then you have a group of individuals who are going to be managing roads. There's another group which specifically deals with water. You know, water, you cannot get the evidence. Because you can say the pipes were laid and nobody will check. So they will pick another 16 billion. Then you have education. They are not taking capitation money. Fake schools are being paid. Why? Because when you begin to enjoy state resources, you want the term limit to be extended. You want the president to live longer so that you can share more state resources, so that you can enjoy these largesse, so that the bad behavior becomes more formalized.
Yes, you want to entrench in the constitution something that would reward political failures.
Absolutely.
Did I get that right?
Absolutely. I mean,
walk me through the checks and balances.
If you are not able to do anything,
we crave checks and balances. But you want to reward the failures so that they're not there to do the checks and balances.
But that's what our leadership is. That's what the Kenyan system is right now. I mean, what is it that we are talking at the National Assembly or even in the Senate? When do you see anybody raise up a very serious question about, is this actually happening? And then you see what happens when the government ministers are even coming to the plenary to come and tell us, give us answers about what is there. The previous night, you would find that people would have looked for him and they would have told him what those questions are going to be, and most probably money will exchange hands at night so that guys are given, and the questions which are given, they are sanitized.
Let me ask you, and I know you're still trying to figure out the checks and balances question. I want to come back to now this united opposition, because the way I see it is this would be a group that would take us back on track as a country, allegedly, supposedly. But there already seem to be cracks. There seems to be a lot of tension between, for example, Rigathi Gachagua, Fred Matiang'i. We've heard the former DP say things like, I'm a person who doesn't spend time in the boardrooms like